Hello. Well, let me do that. How interesting. Hi, how are you guys? Not this. It's weird that they won't let me turn it. Hi. Let me turn it. I don't want it to be locked though. That'll do. Hi, what's going on? How is everyone doing? I might leave this up for the playback later. I might not though. Not sure. Not sure how I feel about it yet. But I was sitting before trying to figure out what to do for you guys. I have committed myself to being here on YouTube on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and just kind of allow myself to be intuitively guided as to what to do, whether it's a reading or a live stream. And I was playing around with the Fountain Tarot, and I was pulling some cards, just asking, like, what does the collective need today? And the Fountain card came out, and the Fountain card is about just being. So I figured that I'm just supposed to come on today and just hang out with you guys. If you guys have any, like, questions, sort of run it like an office hours. We'll just hang out for a little while. We'll have some quality time. If you have some questions, if you need help with something, you just want to chat, I am here for you. My phone won't let me rotate it horizontally, so we're going sort of a full-on TikTok with the vertical phone. Hey Dana, how are you? Hope you're doing good. Hang out for a little while, see if any of the bees buzz in. I just got done doing the Patreon reading for this weekend, and something that I noticed about the energy for this weekend is that it feels like we're moving into the weekend with like a little bit of melancholy. Honestly, woke up today and I was like feeling a little melancholic, but it feels like the energy picks up in like the middle of the weekend. I'm fabulous. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm not bad. This week is the first week that I'm running off of the new schedule that I have established for myself and my work. And I'm actually so happy with it. I was really nervous about shifting my schedule over here on YouTube and shifting my schedule over on Patreon, but it's actually been kind of phenomenal because it feels like the quality of my readings are like really sort of above and beyond this past week, and I'm actually like producing so many more. I think I've done like 18 or 19 readings this week, which is a lot of readings, and I feel really good about all of them, and I actually don't feel like burnt out, and it was way easier for me to get all of the readings done. So that tells me that the new schedule is really working for me. Thank God. I'm such a creature of habit, and I know that as readers or as content creators, like we provide like a little bit of stability for everyone as well. So when we switch up our schedule, it can feel a little bit funny for you guys as well as for us, but everyone seems to really be liking the new schedule thus far. I've been loving it on Patreon and YouTube. Thank you. It's a great system. Thank you so much. I was really nervous about it, but I think like one of the lessons that I'm learning, and a lot of the lessons that like probably a lot of you guys are learning as well, is like sometimes there is a time to like wait something out, right? So be patient, put in the work, ride it out, see if, you know, the day will come. And then there's also a time to recognize like, hey, this isn't working anymore, and like I have to switch things up. Like I have to change. I have to shift what I'm doing. Otherwise it's like Einstein, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I just wasn't getting a different result, and it was really wearing down on my energy and on my spirit as well. And so I'm just like, you know what? Now that the planets have gone direct, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to get my shit together, and I'm going to figure out a schedule that works for me and my energy level, and it honors me, and it honors the people that supports me, and it honors my gift, and I'm going to do it. And if people don't like it, I have to be okay with that, right? Hi, Garrett. That's so great to hear. It has been a really good change for me because, for the last, I think I'm not special in the sense that like I've been dealing with burnout for a really long time, like a really long time. I think a lot of you guys know, like I work my ass off and I put my heart and my soul into everything that I do and I create and I curate for everyone. And so when like things aren't going well, and I am at like the tail end of my Saturn return, but it really like weighs on the spirits, and I was just feeling really stagnant. So I just had to switch it up, and it's such a good thing. I'm feeling, and I was talking to the people on Patreon about it, that like I feel more excited and I feel more inspired and I feel more engaged than I have in like a really long time. And it's not one of those like manic, sometimes I hit like these manic waves where I'm like, I got it, it's fun, it's gonna be great. But really I'm like overcompensating for like my own feelings of inadequacy. But I actually feel like really grounded and I feel like really neutral in what I'm doing, and it feels like it's the right thing to do. And again, like my output, I've been producing so many more readings this week than I have in a really long time, and I'm really happy with the quality of the readings. And in doing them, I haven't felt burnt out. I haven't felt stretched too thin. I'm really excited to sit down and do them. So it's been like a really healing experience for me, by being brave enough to do something new. What's going on, Garrett? How are you doing? I saw your post on Twitter earlier, and you're like, I like how things have been going. So you're in a little bit of similar energy as I am in. I'm getting the monthly readings done for February. There's this funny thing that happens to me when I do the monthly readings. It feels like I have completed the month. And so it's strange to me that we're moving into February because I'm like at the tail end of finishing up all of February's energy. So it feels like I already read it. I already did it. I already looked into it. Like, let's move on to March. And it's not March yet. So it's strange for me when I do the monthly readings because it feels like I complete the month and in all of its entirety as I complete the monthly readings, but I do not. Like, I still have to live out the actual month. It's like a really strange thing when you're sort of like I wouldn't call myself like a strictly predictive tarot reader, but I do a lot of predictive readings, right? Like I do the week ahead forecast. I just posted the weekend reading for you guys over on Patreon. I do the monthly reading. So like I actually do like a big, probably like 80% of my readings are predictive readings. And so it feels like once you read ahead into the energy, it feels like it's already done. So it just like kind of throws up your internal calendar. Hi, Anna. How are you? Garrett, things are good. I'm really relating to a lot of what you're saying between my day job and my creative work. You've been so relatable and helpful. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, that's so nice. I'm so glad. It's hard, man, the sun. Hey, the sun just flew out for us. That's nice. It's really hard when you are like a multi-passionate person and you really care about what you do, but there's all of these like practical mechanics that go into actually taking a creative person and putting those creative ideas into the world. There's a lot more that goes into it than like people realize. I was talking on I think it was TikTok the other day. I was part of another reader's live stream, and we were talking about how a lot of people don't even realize just like the practical mechanics that go into like doing this work professionally. Even just like the little stuff like behind the scenes, like setting up your website, like paying for your domain names, figuring out tiers on Patreon, like how much, what are you able to offer, how many clients can you take on, credit card processors, intake forums, like legal releases. Is like there's so much. How do you schedule yourself when you're your own boss? Like how do you keep up with like the wave of energy and the trends and what people are really interested in, like learning about? Where's the collective sitting? There's like all of this like stuff that goes into the process way before we even sit down and like start shuffling cards. Like it's kind of bananas, and that's stuff that like nobody told me about. Nobody told me about how any of this stuff works. And I was talking about it on Patreon. In March we will be 3 years of the Untitled Tarot, which is really exciting, and it'll be 2.5 years that we've been on Patreon. And when I first started, I just sat down and I just started shuffling. I said, hey, I'm just happy to be here. And I had no idea that it was going to turn into a business. I had no idea that it was going to turn into a lifestyle. I had no idea how like I was going to change as a person. I had never run a business. Like I didn't know how to do anything. I still don't feel like I don't know how to do anything. Like so much of the time, but I have to give myself credit because like I have learned a lot, and it has these are hard bought lessons. Like, this is wisdom gained through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So, you know, I just say that to say, like, if you are a creative person, or if, like, you're trying to, you know, run a business, or if you got a fucking dream, you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. And don't let social media, like, don't let TikTok or any of these applications make you feel like you're not doing enough, because we live in such a viral society where you're just supposed to show up on the first day and you're instantly supposed to go viral, or you're instantly supposed to know how to, like, run a business, or you're instantly supposed to know how to balance, like, your practical needs and your actual life and your creative pursuits. And there's no blueprint for this. Like, nobody tells us how to do it. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everyone's walking around blind, you know what I mean? And don't let, you know, the instant gratification, the instant viral success of social media, don't let it discourage you, because honestly, that's the exception and that's not the rule for most of us, right? Careers are built over lifetimes. They're built over years of hard work and commitment and dedication, right? It's the same thing as a relationship, right? If you're with someone, you're with them and you love them on days where you don't like them. And you know what I mean? Through the years, on good days and in bad days when things are going well and they're not. And that has to do with our relationship with ourselves, you know, it has to do with business, creativity, friends, just like all of it. Life is very complicated. Love is complicated, business is everything's complicated. Hi, Eve. How are you? Everything around the business from start to finish, it's on me. Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, and that's the craziest thing. And even setting up something like a working schedule for me, because everything comes through me. You know what I mean? It's like all of the readings, like all of the guidance, all of the advice, the classes, like answering, you know, someone asked me the other day, like, what it was like to run a business. It's like, well, I am the talent. I am also like a conduit for divine energies. I'm a marketer. I'm a promoter. I'm in charge of HR. I'm in charge of development. I'm the accountant. Like, I am like I'm the photographer. I'm the videographer. Like, I'm all of these things, and I feel very blessed to do it. It's just like so much more involved than like people let you know. Hi, Nassia. We got some bees in the house. Hi, Glenn. Rainbows around the fountain, 3 rivers, like you're New Jersey. Yeah. Look at that. 4 of Cups. Yeah, look at that. That's just so perfect to encapsulate what we were talking about. The Lovers, the 4 of Cups, and then the 5 of Wands. It's like finding a passion or finding something in your life like you're really excited about, and there's so much in this life that like makes us numb. And so when you finally find something that you're excited about or inspires you or like puts you into purpose, right? It is like a love affair. And then after a while, like you fall into like this despondent 4 of Cups. You get kind of like melancholy and you're like, nothing is working out the way that I imagined it in my mind. And then there's that 5 of Wands, right? It's like you kind of have to like fight through it. Like, you don't get anywhere by quitting, you know? Hi, Elizabeth. I think the Sun card came out first, though. You know, technically not to reading. Unless you're a business owner, especially a homeowner. It's a lot. Like, it is a lot for one person. And I, like, very rarely take, like, sabbaticals. Like, some people will take a month off or they'll take a couple weeks off. Or I think the most I've ever taken off was, like, maybe, like, a week and a half. Because I'm someone that, like, I will lose momentum. It's sort of like college. Some people can take big breaks from college and go back when, like, their head's on straight and they're taking it really seriously. But, like, I'm one of those kinds of people that, like, if I left college, like, I probably wasn't going to go back. And I didn't go back. You know what I mean? So like I know that I have to kind of keep a dog in the fight, otherwise I'll lose momentum and I'll stop. Crazy though. So how are you guys doing? What are you up to this weekend? Like I said before, I've committed myself to being here on YouTube Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I decided that I wasn't going to give myself like a super specific plan, that if I felt guided to give you guys a reading or hop on live stream or do something like we're doing today, but I would just make myself available for that. And I was shuffling this deck asking what we should do today, and the Fountain card came out, which is a card about just like being. So I just got the impression that we should just like have a little quality time today. Just come on, hang out, chat about life. If you guys have questions about anything, about tarot, like just let me know. I am available for the next hour or so just to kind of kick it. Welcome to all the bees. Hi, Mrs. EGG. Traveling to an Arctic blast zone in Montana this weekend. Wow, that's incredible. I was just talking about Montana on my Instagram. Someone had asked me, like, where do you want to move? And I was like, I don't know. But there's something about Montana that's really calling me. I don't really know why. Maybe I just need to go visit. Sometimes I think it's like the Pisces in me and like the Sagittarius in me where I'll just go, I'm just going to move to a state that I've never been to before. That's kind of crazy though. Like, how do you know if you even like it there? So I feel like maybe in the spring I want to take a little vacation to be Montana. See the mountains. see the rivers. See the lakes. I think it was you. Yeah, I think it was you. I think you messaged me. Hi. How are you? It's a funny stream too because I can't normally turn my phone horizontal, but YouTube said, no, you're going to hold it vertical, so it feels like a TikTok stream, which I don't do that often. But I'm trying to invest more time into my Tiki-Talkies. That's another thing. Like, when you run your business, you have to be, like, a social media manager. And that's so, like, interesting for me. And, like, navigating the politics. I feel like this is, like, a diary entry right now. And, like, navigating, like, the social politics on social media is, like, so interesting to me. Because, obviously, like, there's this concept of, like, parasocial relationships. That there are content creators. And we used to have them with celebrities all the time. But now, like, I feel like nobody really cares about celebrities, and content creators and influencers are sort of like the new celebrities because like they feel much more accessible than like standard Hollywood celebrities. But you know, parasocial relationships is if there's a celebrity or if there's a content creator, an influencer that you really like and you watch all of their posts, it's like you feel like you have a close connection, like an intimacy with them, but it can be sort of like one-sided sometimes, right? Like that obviously goes into social media. But it's interesting when like you're on the creator end and like you're trying to like make connections, right? It's like you're trying to network. It's like you're trying to build friendships with other creators or other readers in the community. And like that feels, and it was something that I probably shouldn't be surprised about because like I already went through this situation here on YouTube, but it's like it's a lot like high school. It's kind of shocking, like the amount of people like in content creation, in the tarot community, in spiritual communities that you think this is like a cool person, like we're gonna vibe, we're gonna be friends, and then you find out that they are not the right people for you to be friends with. Like it's kind of like a weird high schooly type of feeling, which feels like really gross. And sometimes I have these moments on social media where I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like not everyone here like has my best interest at heart. Like not everyone here is being like super transparent. Some of this stuff that I'm seeing is like really gross, like behind the scenes, you know what I mean? And it's not always stuff that you can like bring to light or talk about all of the time because it creates like a bigger issue when everybody on the internet is like ready to go fisticuffs over everything. But that has been like challenging for me to figure out how to like navigate the social landscape, like just like on the back end of social media. It's like it's really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have, you know, experienced this yourself. And as above, so below. Hello, how are you? Good morning. Little chapstick. That's not great. Yes, it's really weird. Which for me is kind of one of the benefits of like having like private communities as well. It's in every industry. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember it like when I was bartending, you know what I mean? People are like nice to your face and then they're like trying to steal your shifts behind your back, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing on social media. I can't tell you how many people have like messaged me or come into my DMs like trying to chat or whatever, and like next thing I know they're like stealing my content or like taking an idea that I gave them without like crediting it or like using a tagline, like just stuff like that. It's like baby bullshit, like high school drama, and it's like, why did you take my idea? Or like, why did you credit me for that? Or like, why are you pretending to be my friend and then like doing something shady? And for me, like as a over 30-year-old lady, I'm kind of bringing in my Jenna Marbles, right? Like lady, it just feels like so ridiculous, but it's like, you don't want to fight with children. And it's just, it's a whole again, and this is something like no one prepares you for. It's crazy. It's like crazy. So sometimes, like, I don't necessarily, like I said, take long breaks or like big sabbaticals, but sometimes I gotta take a couple days like off of the internet just to sort of recalibrate myself and like touch some grass and remind myself that the internet is intangible, and these are parasocial relationships, and some people just don't have the good sense that the Lord gave them, and like I can't, that's not my problem, and like reassert my boundaries and stuff like that. Like boundaries, if you work online, like in any job, in any industry, but it's, you forget, because I don't know about anyone else, but for me, I'm like a really open-hearted person. Like I like everyone. Like I really like people. And something that was really surprising to me is how many people like in this industry, in the spiritual community, in the tarot community, that actually like tarot, but they don't like people. And that's really like surprising for me, because something that I love is I love you. Like I love talking to you. I love hearing about your stories. I always like to say, like, if you ain't living it, baby, like I'm not reading it, right? It's like, and I feel very special and very blessed to be entrusted with channeling through and reading out like people's lives. Like your lives are lived in here, right? And like that's really sacred. And I like people, and I'm very social, and I just want, it's like that girl in Mean Girls at the end. She's like, I just want everyone to be best friends and have cookies and like all of that stuff. But it's like there's like this mean girl energy, and I'm like, so I can't bake cookies? Like, so sometimes, you know, I have to like keep it behind like a gated community like Patreon or something, but it's just wild. And again, these are things that like no one tells you. No one explains it to you, like, hey, heads up, about 80% of the people that you're going to try and befriend online are going to try and like steal your ideas and talk shit about you behind your back. And then they're going to smile on camera, and like you're going to know, but you're not really going to be able to say anything, because then it looks like you're the troublemaker. So you just have to figure out a way to like grin and bear it and like bounce back from that and like reassert your boundaries. It's crazy. Though I will say I have made a few absolutely gorgeous, delicious, beautiful angels from heavens of friends. I will absolutely say that. Like the Happy Little Plant Witch on TikTok, and she's on Instagram as well, Brittany. She is so wonderful. She is one of the nicest people that I've ever met, and I'm so grateful for her friendship, especially in like a landmine field that is, you know, social media and TikTok and Instagram. And there are a lot of you guys, right, that like started out as just like subscribers, just hanging out, commenting on the videos, you know what I mean? We're just resonating, we're just vibing, that have become like really good friends. Like Ariel is like my best friend. she just started out as a client, right? She'd book readings, or, you know, she'd watch the videos, and then over time, like she's like my sister now, you know? So for all of the bad and all of the bullshit, there's also like so much good, and like there are really good friends to be had and like really good experiences to be shared. You just have to practice like whatever level of mindfulness and discernment you think you need to have, like up it, like double it. But as you double it, try not to be hardened by it. That's the hard thing too. It's like you can have all the boundaries, but sooner or later they like harden you, and like your heart's really closed off. So it's interesting finding that balance between having the necessary discernment and boundaries while also allowing yourself to be like soft and receptive, and not like project onto people that they're gonna be like all of the other ones that you've already experienced, because like sometimes it is like finding a needle in the haystack, but sometimes you find that diamond in the rough. Gotta get that classroom in order. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Glenn. You know what time it is. Instead of collaboration mindset, it does get super competitive. And listen, I've always been the first one to say that I don't think competition in and of itself is inherently a bad thing. I do think that competition, when approached through like a healthy lens, can inspire innovation, creativity, invention. It can really have us show up as like the best of ourselves. There are plenty of creators, and I'll watch a reading or I'll watch a video and I'll go, damn, that's good. Like they did a really good job. Like I have to step up my own game. Like I gotta get my shit together, because that was really good. You know what I mean? But I have the ability to recognize that and then turn it into inspiration, you know? But if you're not like developed enough, right? If you don't have like a healthy sense of ego and at very least a sense of humor, then you will fall into like the really toxic form of competitiveness, which is, very us versus them. And like that's shitty, and that's not the point of this community, spiritual, tarot, or otherwise. It's about bringing people together. So sometimes you just have to admit when someone's better than you. They did a better job, and that's okay, because it shows you where like maybe you could apply a little bit more pressure, or you could be more innovative, or like you need to be more original. And I think that that's a good thing as well. It doesn't always have to be like so black and white, but again, it's all about finding that nuance and where that sweet spot in the nuances for you. Hi Maria. Garrett Tay. My sister, avoiding in the deep wells of self but trying to bring it back to physical basics, clear space, clean more whilst physically, mentally, and spiritually exhausted. Yeah, it's a lot. Listen, you guys you're on a spiritual journey. Like, it's exhausting. It would be no different if you were like in therapy doing like trauma counseling, right? It's like when you're trying to do the internal work while trying to not just survive an external world that like is very oppressive and capitalistic and misogynistic, and it has all of the phobias, while at the same time trying to put something better into the world than maybe what you're getting out of the world. Like, it is an exhausting process, and it can drain the soul. And so I think that it's a process of constantly figuring out where and when to go refill your well. And that's going to be different places at different times too, right? Sometimes it's your friends, sometimes it's the God, sometimes it's a different God, sometimes it's just time by yourself, sometimes it's times away from spirituality, right? And you're always growing and you're always changing, and you need different things to like refill that reservoir that you have, which is why it's important to always kind of stay checked in here, so you can ask yourself, like, what do I need right now? Sometimes you're like, I need a solution, when actually what you need is comfort. And so it's important to sort of ask yourself that question. I like to call it gentle parenting yourself. I do that. I'm like, what do I need? It's like, I'm angry and I feel some kind of way, but that's okay. I just need comfort, or I need a solution, or I just need someone to tell me it's going to be okay, or I need help bringing the energy, the adrenaline down, It's so interesting. Yeah. Hey, to be in the school of Earth. Yeah. Like putting Slappy in the corner with a dunce cap. Yeah. Hey, TV. How you doing? It's definitely a pick and choose your battles type. Oh, 100%. Listen. Yeah. And sometimes the thing is like, you have to lose a lot of battles in order to like win the war. And like the war is like what you're trying to put out there into this world, like what you're trying to do in this life. And so sometimes you gotta let the haters hate, and like you gotta let fair weathered friends, you just gotta let them blow away, or you just gotta sometimes bite your tongue about stuff because like there's something bigger that you're trying to do. Like, and I know it's that way for me. There's so many instances where I could have done something, said something, and I just I decided not to, because like it will become a distraction in the narrative that I'm trying to put out there into the world, the work that I'm trying to do, the positive impact that like I'm trying to have, which means that I'm constantly having conversations with my ego and my own sense of pride, and confronting self-righteousness and all of this stuff, you know what I mean? Because there's so much noise in the world, and I don't want to contribute to the noise. I want to say something. I have something to say, and so I just want to make sure that when I open my mouth, I'm adding value, right? And not contributing to the problem. It's challenging though sometimes. Bye, Glenn. Have a good bed. Gotta go tend to some things. Oh, okay. I thought you said you're going to bed. I was like, good night, good errands, good. What are you doing? Have a good day. Hi, Nene. How you doing? What's going on? I feel like this is like taxi cab confessions today. Like I'm just like spilling all of the industry secrets. But I always like to say, like, I hope whatever vulnerability or transparency that like I share with you guys, like, it helps you in some way, because again, it's just stuff that like no one taught me. And it's off topic, but I want to send you one of my candles. Since you just give me the. Oh no, it's not weird. Oh, I love that. Oh, thanks, Maria. Yeah, just message me. Just message me on Instagram. That's so nice of you. Thank you. And your candles are so beautiful. I always try and repost them when I see them come up on my feed, but Instagram's so bad about showing you content from like the actual people that you follow. Anyone else notice that I've got to put my glasses on. Anyone else notice things that used to irk or irritate you have suddenly gone away? Like, didn't even say goodbye, just gone. Uh-huh. I've noticed that for me as well. Just feeling much more neutral. I think it's back to what As Above, So Below said before about, like, picking and choosing your battles. You're just like, you know what? I don't have the spoons for this. I don't have the bandwidth for this. Fantastic. I'm just chilling. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm just hanging out today. I asked Spirit, like, what should I do on YouTube today? And they just said, just hang out. Spend a little quality time. So like I said, we're just chatting. If anyone has, like, you have questions or something about me or about spirituality or about tarot or, like, whatever, like, I'm just here. I'm just here for kicks. Just spend a little time. Hi, Paige. It's good to see you too. Thanks for stopping by. Did you see this, like, little triangle of light right above my head? Did you see this? It's not coming out of that vent, I'll tell you that much. Oh man. I am having a lot of fun moving through these monthly readings for February right now. Some of you guys are really, like, kicking your butt into action. I think Libra has been one of my favorites so far. Libra's energy for February, it feels so clean. It feels so good. Scorpio's doing some shadow work as always. As always. But I'm having a really fun time with these February monthly readings. Just shorter months too. Bye, Eve. Gotta get back to work. Let's go to hang out for a bit. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a good day. Yeah, Libra rising. Yeah, Libra had a good reading. I really enjoyed it for them. I forget what I called it. Forget. I only have... Who do I have left to do for the monthly readings? I have... Did I do Leo? No, the last one I did was Virgo. So I have Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, and Aries. I have 5 left for the monthly readings to do. I was going to do them today, but I don't think I have the spoons for it. I don't. I almost forgot. I have to post. So, for those of you guys that haven't noticed, I have moved zodiac readings onto Patreon. And so, but I did put them up on Vimeo. So I have to make myself a note. So if you want, like, your weekly zodiac readings, you can either, like, rent them individually like you do the monthlies, or you can get them on Patreon now. Because it's just, like, I love doing the zodiac readings. I'm still doing the zodiac readings, but it is a tremendous amount of energy and work that goes into reading them, filming them, and then doing extended readings. And if people aren't really watching them, I had to kind of do a little bit of analysis, and I realized that, like, a lot of you guys are watching the collective readings, you're watching the live streams, you're watching stuff like this. You're not really watching the zodiac readings as much, and so I figured I'd move them onto the Patreon, but I have uploaded them on Vimeo. So if you want the zodiac readings and you don't want to join Patreon, you can get them on Vimeo, but I have to remember to put something on the community board for you. But I always say that Patreon's your best bet. You'll save more money that way. I always want you guys to, like, save as much money as you can. Cool. Libra, yeah, I really liked Libra's energy. Pisces had a good energy as well. So far, they're all looking really good. Capricorn had an interesting reading for February, too. It was not the normal for them, and I felt Capricorn coming in and asking me about, like, the typical things that come out in their readings. And I had to do, like, a little side reading during the month and be like, okay, let's check in on all the stuff that you're asking me about. I'm like, it's fine. All of this stuff is business as usual. Like, we have to look over here. What are you guys doing? What are your plans for the weekend? Are you freaking on the weekend? Can you ask a personal question? I mean, why not? We're here. Life's short. Ask away. Hi, Holly. What's going on? How are you doing? It's always nice to see you in the chat. 3 of Cups. Look, now it's a party. Holly's here. Now it's a party. I just like to shuffle the deck when I'm just hanging out. I think it's like a stim. I think it's like an autistic, neurodivergent stim thing. Do you ever notice if you guys readers, you just like sit there and start shuffling? Whoa, what's that? Whoa. These fell out exactly as you asked that question. Are you done with this karmic cycle? The 10 of Swords, the Page of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. So what I want to say is yes, but you're not going to feel like it until you start making different decisions. Especially decisions that are more in line with like your hopes and your dreams. Sometimes that requires like a level of discipline. I see the Queen of Swords as an energy that is a little bit disciplined, and she's able to make like hard decisions for herself if it means that it will get her closer to what she actually does want. So with the 10 of Swords, that does indicate the end of like a very troubling, a very painful, a karmic cycle. The Page of Cups though says like it's like you almost feel sort of like unprepared to like take on new mindsets or take on like new lessons or make new decisions. But the Queen of Swords says that like you actually are capable of it. You just have to like resolve yourself to it, right? So yes, you just have to commit yourself to making different choices that are more in alignment with the new cycle that you're on. So that involves, you know, having compassion for self, but also holding yourself accountable for like what you say you want to do, right? Right. But I think you can do it. I think you got this. Hi. I have been up for hours. Early bird gets the worm. There you go. What time is it where you are? It is 11:30 here. What time did I get up? Like 6? Get up at like 6. Sometimes Spirit wakes me up at like 5 and they're like, it's time for a chat. I'm like, 5 a.m. This is outside my office hours. All right. Yeah, no problem. Yep, shuffling is like a somehow calming and meditative. Do it just because it feels good. No, that's a lot of us. That's a lot of us. I think people, especially in like this field or industry, people are interested in spirituality. I think that the majority of us are neurodivergent in some capacity, which means that we have like our comfort stims, or in our comfort things. It's like I always have like a blanket that from the second I started my channel, I've always had a blanket on me for like every reading. It's strange if I do not, even in the summer, I get like a very light blanket because there's just something about it that makes me feel more comfortable, and we'll just sit here and we'll just shuffle and not pull out a single card. 7:25 a.m. Wow, so you're 4 hours behind my time zone. Patrick's in London and went live about 5. That's not... Who's Patrick? You're Patrick? Oh, Alaska time. Oh no, not again. Shadow work for Scorpio. Can you please do the reading? Just kidding. I thought about it. Honestly, I thought about it. Because, you know, that day I did Sagittarius and I did Scorpio, and it was when the moon was in Pisces, and I felt like I was seated like very deep in like the subconscious mind. But sometimes it's just like I can only remember pieces of it. There was some shadowy stuff in there, but you know, sometimes it's necessary. Oh, right. Rock on. I was like, who is that? For me. Squarespace. Oh, good, Murray. I just got your email. I see it pop up on my telephone. Pop up my telephone. So how are you guys feeling lately? What are you picking up on the collective energy? Like, how are you experiencing it? I could do that, Nene. Do you have a question? Card of the day, a question. Page of Swords. Can I ask more questions? What's the Aquarius energy been like? The Aquarius energy has been absolutely gorgeous. I love Aquarius season. In my Vedic chart, I actually am an Aquarius, which makes a lot of sense. Because since I started my channel, I've always said that as I get older, I resonate very deeply with my Vedic chart, even more so than my tropic one at times. But I love Aquarian energy. A big collective theme that I'm seeing right now is the divine in general, spirit asking us to just like be more original. That a lot, and maybe some of this has to do with like social media culture, like all this stuff. It's stuff that's like been done to death. Ideas, beliefs, and like something that like especially has been coming through me is like, where's the new, like where's the progressive, like let's talk about new ideas, like let's talk about new techniques, like what are we going to create in the future, which I think is very much reflective of the Aquarian energy, obviously Aquarius season, but also like the age of Aquarius that, you know, we're kind of beginning to move through now. So it's about not the parrot card, the little like toucan Sam parrot card. It keeps coming up in a lot of my decks, which talks a lot about like mimicry, how like we hear something or we learn something or we see something done a certain way and we just parrot it back. We just like mimic it because we think that's the way it's supposed to be done. And it just feels like collectively the divine is really asking us to like do something new. I'm pretty sure Leo's reading, which is Leo is the opposite of Aquarius. Leo's reading for this week, I think the title of it was like, please do something new. Like, show me something good. You know, I just feel like the divine is really challenging us creatively to be more original and like progressive and forward thinking. But a lot of us are like afraid to do it. Because the proof of the concept hasn't been proven to us by someone else. So it almost feels like we're being asked as like a collective to like be brave, do the new thing, like have a new idea, do it in a different way, be the person who proves the concept that like new is in. It's very like a Hierophant in reverse type of energy. You don't have a question. So Nana, you had the Page of Swords come out. You also had the Eight of Swords come out in reverse. And so it feels like now is a really good time for you to ask yourself questions, especially, the word confrontation comes to my head as well, confronting like any like self-limiting beliefs or fears or anxieties that you have. Like get to the root of them. Like, why am I afraid of this? Is it afraid of failure? Like, why don't I feel worthy of this? Why do I feel stuck? It's like really challenging like the narrative. Like, am I as stuck as I think that I am, or do I just need to shake things up? Do I need a new perspective? The Page of Swords is like a very inquisitive type of energy, and in this card as well, the sword's so big, like it's bigger than his own head. So you may also be like kind of exploring some like philosophical or some sort of like existential thoughts, like trying to tap into like a truth that is bigger than you, which is actually, it will serve you because it will take you enough out of the ego to see that things that may be blocking or limiting you or things that you're fearing really, like as they say on TikTok, are not that serious. They're not that serious. They're not bigger than you. Do you know what I mean? Sheila! Hi, Sheila. I'm loving the radiant glow from the sun. Your desk. Thanks! What is the Taurus energy right now, Lauren? Did I do Taurus yet? I didn't do Taurus's monthly reading. I did the weekly reading this week, but what was it? I don't really remember the Taurus reading. There's another reader that I like a lot. I'm actually a Patreon on his Patreon, Tarot Exegete, and I think it was in seminary school for a while, and he was having a conversation with a priest and says that forgetfulness is a blessing from the Holy Spirit, because priests go in and they do these confessions, right, with the congregation, and that oftentimes, like, after the individual leaves, the priest forgets what he heard in the confessional, and that level of forgetfulness is like a blessing from the Holy Spirit. And Chris was talking about how it's very similar to tarot readers, that after we get done with a reading, or after we get off of a session with a client, we kind of go blank, sort of like this ignorance falls over us, and like we can't really remember what we read. Like we'll remember that we did the reading, like we'll remember like the client that we read for, but we won't entirely remember the messages, and how that's actually like a really good thing, because it means that like we're not carrying energy that doesn't belong to us, that, you know, your personal readers aren't sitting there like remembering the intricacies of your read like long after it has passed, right? And so I can't really like remember right now. I didn't do the monthly Taurus reading yet for February. I just did the weekly one, but I couldn't tell you what the title was or what it was about, which initially made me feel bad, and then they reminded me of Chris's article, and I'm like, forgetfulness can be a blessing sometimes. Love Aqua Season, can't stand February, though. Why? Why can't you stand February? It is sort of like a weird month, right? Yes, bring in the new. North Node and Mars, I'm turning into a clown and don't care. Good for you! That reminds me of, you know that meme, and it's like, I'm just gonna keep getting weirder and hotter. That's what that reminds me of. Oh my god, that's so true. Ooh, you were so right. That's so real. Thank you. Of course, my pleasure. Elizabeth, I'm still feeling a lot of weird delays and blockages while internally expecting some kind of big positive breakthrough. Shaka Khan has to be a Leo rising, by the way, at that hair. Ah, so gorgeous. Shaka Khan's amazing. Still feeling a lot of weird delays and blockages while internally expecting some kind of big positive breakthrough. Yeah, well, I mean, the delays and the blockages show you where there's work to be done, or it shows you where you sort of need to pivot. It's a little bit like we were talking about earlier, that sometimes when we have delays and blockages, it's a sign for us to commit, sometimes to double our efforts, to employ more patience, sometimes more prayer, to like pull out these other tools that you have in your toolbox. Even things like return to sender spells, road opener spells, like stuff like that, right? And sometimes those delays and those blockages are meant to show you sort of, or redirect you into another path or another way to do things, right? So, and a lot of that comes down to discernment. Is this blockage here because I'm supposed to learn from it, I'm supposed to dissect it so I can overcome it, or is this blockage here trying to point me to a better way of doing things, right? It's like even the new schedule that I just implemented over here and on Patreon, that was like hellish for me to even think about, because I didn't want to do a new schedule. I didn't want to not do zodiac readings on YouTube, because from the second that I was just like a little noodle just watching, you know, tarot on YouTube, I was like, I'm gonna do zodiac readings on YouTube. That's gonna be me. But after, you know, almost 3.5 years and like not really seeing a lot of positive progress in that area, eventually I had to say, okay, I'm not gonna fight against the blockage. I'm gonna allow it to redirect me into a better way of doing things. And this is the first week that I'm trying it, but it's been going really well for me. I've gotten more zodiac readings out in the past week than I have in like the past 6 weeks. And I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel stressed out. I didn't feel spread too thin. I felt great. I had a ton of fun doing them. I think especially this week, they're some of the best readings that like I've been doing. And so, you know, it worked out. Movement is necessary for balance. Absolutely. When to stay and when to move. Again, that's why I always say, like, it's important that you stay checked in here, because your own heart and your spirits, right, like your ancestors, your gods, whatever it is you vibe with, like they want you to succeed, right? Like, it's important for me to try and believe that I live in a friendly universe and not a hostile universe. And I didn't always feel that way. I felt like I was living in a hostile universe, and I was feeling like real bad for myself and about myself. And, you know, at some level, I just had to really shift that thinking and say, okay, things are coming together, or things are not coming together for a reason. So I have to shift my perspective. Otherwise, I'll be stuck here forever. So recently I wasn't getting any notifications for your channel. I had to search for you. I thought you left YouTube. No, it's part of the conspiracy against me. I'm convinced of it. So if you guys don't have like the bell, and I the thing is I always, I don't want to be that YouTuber that's like, make sure you turn on your notifications, make sure you subscribe. Like, I don't want to do that because it makes me feel like a car salesman. Do you know what I mean? And I like to sit in this energy that it's like, well, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And like, if, you know, if honestly, there's a lot of truth to that, but some of it's like honestly bullshit. It's like before about social media, that like the instant gratification, like the instant viral success, like that's an exception. It's not the rule. And like sometimes closed mouths don't get fed. And so I have to, you know, if you like the videos, click the little buttons, right? If you like it, put a comment on it. Make sure you turn on the bell, because like the algorithms don't always push the videos, and I'm here. Like, I've always been here, you know what I mean? But it helps the algorithm know that you're interested in me and that you want to see more of what I'm putting out, you know? And though I don't like to be like, hey, can you click the buttons? Like, honestly, sometimes I need you guys to hit the buttons. Like, I need, like, if there's one, like, little thing that you could do to, like, help me out, like, if you like me as a person and, like, you enjoy what I put out here for you guys on the channel, just please click those little goddamn buttons, you know, because YouTube likes it. They like the clicky, and it just lets them know that people still care, you know? People still want to hear the messages. You're doing something right, Lauren. Your spiritual lighting team is on point right now. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. Can you pull a card for me, Sean? Yeah, I sure can. Always doing all the things to support your favorite creators. Yeah. Thank you. Sheila is really, like, Sheila's an MVP. If you ever need, like, a little bit of a pick-me-up, like, Sheila is just, like, such a godsend. I love you so much. And Sheila's been with me for a long time. Sheila's been with me since, like, my days in the woods. Like, planting, like, oh my god. Sheila's been with me for so long. We're so blessed for her. February's just a weird month in Idaho. It ends up being kind of like a gross mess outside, and there's less sun, and it just feels like it's an in-between space. Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. That's the way I feel about March. My birthday is in March, and I always like to think of myself as like a spring baby, but I'm not. I'm actually like an end of winter baby, and so when March comes, it feels like it should be May, right? It should feel like, you know, like Easter's coming, and it's springy, and it's nice, but like half the time there's like slush and snow on the ground, and it's like I'm an end of winter baby, right? Not a spring baby, and that is annoying. But I was born with a Libra rising, so, you know. So that helps. I just got good taste, if nothing else. Shauna. Sure, Shauna, let's see. Hold on. Oh, no. Hold on, I have to fix my deck. My shuffles got away from me. Hold on. Hold for production. Okay. I think that's all together now. You're that tulip bulb. Yeah. Hey, Bonnie. How you doing? Good. I hope you're having a good morning, too. Hold on. Let me see. Was it Shauna? Shauna. All right, hold on. Have to get to Shauna first. Shauna asked first. Ooh. The Ace of Coins, Shauna. It's coming out a little bit on its side, though, so there's, like, a decision about an investment to make. The Ace is small, right? So if we look at the suits of tarot, like, 10 is a lot, whereas aces and 2s and 3s are sort of on the smaller end. So what I would say is, if you are considering starting something or investing something, feel free to start small. You don't have to put all of your eggs in one basket. If you just, like, invest a little bit, and especially if you show up just consistently, that's going to take you farther than, like, trying to do the full Monty, put all the eggs in the basket, right? Start small, work on consistency. That'll be enough. That'll be enough. Otherwise, yeah, with the 4 of Cups at the bottom, otherwise you'll get disappointed with the Queen of Cups. Otherwise you'll get disappointment that, like, maybe things aren't moving or progressing as fast as you want. Does that make sense? So take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you. Invest. invest small and consistently, and allow it to cumulatively build over time in your experience. Some sweet. Hi. What am I be? I can pull a card from you. I remember the woods, yes. And I was just walking around talking about stories from my childhood, and I had like the Untitled Plant Project where I was like planting like flowers for the different zodiac signs and seeing how they grew in comparison to the tarot. Like that was a cool idea. Like I still think that's a cool idea, but I planted them in this weird little circle and it kind of looked like a grave, and it wasn't great. It was a great concept. It was a very poor execution. I still have those videos on my channel, but I privated them. I privated them. Garrett, my birthday is in February. Yeah, that's because you're my little Aquarius. I've never met an Aquarius that I didn't like. So let me see. Some sweet. Oh, you got two. The Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords. The Empress. I feel like someone's trying to tell you about your business. So what I would say to you, some sweet, is don't take advice from people who can't do what you do, or at least as well as you do it. And also, don't take advice from people that haven't walked in your shoes. With the Two of Cups and the Empress, especially if it has to do with like a relationship, like if people are telling you, it almost feels like people try and like create a wedge between you and others sometimes, more because it benefits them versus their concern for you. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's sort of what's coming through here. This also feels like a really good time to evaluate like the quality of your relationships. We're all messy, imperfect people. We don't always show up in the way that like people want us to, and people don't always show up in the way that, you know, we would like them to. But now is probably a really good time to just kind of assess the quality of your relationship, and if there's like room to like create some space for some healthier connections, because it just feels like, I don't know, like people try and boss you around sometimes, and it almost feels like you let them, and you shouldn't. You should set that boundary. Verbally, you should set that boundary so people don't try and steamroll over you as if you are not a fully grown adult in charge of your own life. It's the idea of like you're a grown up and people still talk to you like you're a kid sometimes, but you might actually have more experience than them. You know what I mean? So set those boundaries. Set those boundaries. Immediately do that. I've lost control of the chat. Let me see. What? Tulip energy. Hi, May. How you doing? Singer, Pacific Northwest. Charlize. Hi, Charlize. Baby steps get you places too. That's 100% right. Lift it with your legs, Shauna. Of course. Hey, can't stay daughter just had a baby boy. Ah, congratulations, Charlize. It's so exciting. Oh, it's so exciting. Hey, Elle. How you doing? It's so good to see you. Whoa. I love the planting bits. Yeah, they were good. Yes, Maria, I will pull a card for you. Set you apart, maybe pay attention to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Totally. Yeah, no problem, some sweet. Oh, I felt that people talking at me like I don't have to princess. So rude. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That happened. That, you know what, that happens to me too as well. People will say things to me as if, you know, I haven't spent 31 years in this body, as if I have not done this job every day for like the last 4.5 years, like all on my own, you know, so it's just like, you know how people can be. Yes, I'm glad we came on to hang out. Okay, Maria, can you pull a card for me as well? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's good to see all my bees. My bees in the hive. I do all the time. Like I'm slow. Nope, you just haven't gone up yet. Yeah. Yeah. What's that Fergie song? They're playing me like a Black Eyed Peas of Fergie song. I'm so 3008. You're so 2000 and late, right? I got that boom, boom, pow. That boom, boom, pow. That's what that feels like. It's like, I'm not behind in what we're doing. I'm in the beginning stages of something that you haven't even tapped into yet. I get it. I get it. Damn, lost the chat. Now I'm all blank. Aw, damn it. Okay. Oh, yeah. The 10 of Cups. Okay. Oh, I love this. This is my drop it in your lap type of card. Because see how it looks like this person's like falling out of the sky and on top of this pedestal? That's really nice. So it feels like something's just kind of going to fall in your lap. And that's really exciting too. The 10 of Cups talks a lot about community. It talks a lot about family. So you hear that? The first thing that I want to say is if you haven't felt, and maybe this directly connects to what we were talking about before, if you haven't really felt like supported, especially in your creative endeavors, by certain friends or certain family, it's almost like, yeah, like she's got her little project over there. That's nice. Like, if they weren't really taking you seriously, it feels as though there's like been some kind of proof of concept, or the fact that like you haven't abandoned it, or like you haven't like you haven't abandoned it, you haven't given up on it. The fact that like you committed to it and you've stayed committed has gotten other people to take what you're doing much more seriously. And so it feels like they're coming back around and they're going to show you the support that they should have shown you the first time around. Does that make sense? Strength, yeah, your confidence, your ability to make decisions, your ability to be creative. And with the Four of Swords, your ability to not feel like you have to explain it to anyone else. It's like if they'll get it if they're supposed to get what I'm doing. So that's really good. So it feels like you're actually about to get the support that you deserve and that you probably needed a long time ago. So that's good. It's been a long time coming. I was just singing that. So were you? I got that boom, boom, pow. That boom, boom, pow. Sean, this is hilarious. Bees in a hive is a good time. Yeah. I like to call it the honeycomb because sometimes like the hive is like, it's the hive mind, as if like you're not all sentient beings who have critical thinking skills, but you know, it's back. Yes. I think I was lagging too. The mantra. The institution reserves the right to refuse service. Yeah, I like that, Holly. I like that. I like that a lot. I just redid my website, but on my old website, I had like a section on there that said like I have the right to refuse anybody service or access to me anywhere at any time on any platform. I will block you. You will not see me. I will block you across platforms. Like, I do not care. Fortunately for me, I haven't really had to do that much. To be honest, the majority of people that I've ever had to like refuse service or block have either been like bots and scammers, like imposters, or actually like people that I know from real life. Like like it's like ex-boyfriends and stuff that are like creeping on my profile. I have to like block them, but luckily I haven't had to block like a lot of like subscribers or clients or anything like that. Thank God. But I'm really blessed that I have really good clients. I have really good clients. I have really good students. I have really good like supporters, subscribers. You guys, like I got the lion's share of that. And I will say, like, more so than like maybe some other creators that I've seen, like my family, right? Like my subscribers, you guys are exceedingly loyal, which is beautiful. 22 likes, 22 people in the chat, 2222 are exceedingly loyal, and that's something that I do not take lightly. It's something I deeply appreciate. God, thank you. That makes so much sense. I've been feeling that for a while. Yeah. Once you've been removed, it's indefinitely. Sometimes I always like to extend people grace wherever I can, because sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. Sometimes we're just in a bad energy. Do you know what I mean? And like we're acting in a way that we shouldn't be, and like we have to be temporarily removed. But if someone has the ability to like learn and grow and like come back and be like really civil, do you know what I mean? Like if you can get your shit together and come back, then like that's cool. Like I want to give people the opportunity to do that. More often than not, they come back in the same way that they left. But I always like to give people enough grace that they can grow and mature and change, because I have grown and I've matured and I've changed over my 31 years in this world. And there are people that still see me as an old version of myself that I'm not any longer, you know? And so I always want to try and extend to others, whenever I can, what I would like to receive for myself. Yes, I give grace, but you know, as Cancers will let you until there's no dragon left. Oh, absolutely. If there's one sign in the whole zodiac that I wouldn't want to get on their bad side, it's a Cancer. Like, people always talk about, like, oh, Scorpios or nah. If you wanna feel the fear of God, mess with a Cancer. Because when a Cancer loves you, you will never be loved so good. You will never have someone be more loyal, go to back. They will rip the sky open just to make sure, like, you get yours. But the second that a Cancer's in a bad mood, you do something they don't like, watch out. Watch out. Go underground. Take cover. Take cover. It's like a superhero. Cancers will, like, rip off that hard shell and just, like, beat you to death with it. It's crazy. I have known a lot of Cancers in my day. I give a warning after that, baby. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Cancer is my south node. It's also my midheaven. And so I am I understand that energy because Cancer is my midheaven, and that rules public persona, and that rules, like, your career and stuff like that, right? And I'm, again, can we all just be friends and make friendship bracelets? But, like, at any point in time, it feels like you are messing with me, you're messing with my money, you're messing with my community, you're messing with my people. Is it for you? That's a wrap, and any idea about how nice Lauren is will immediately go out the window, and you will find out just how sassy I can be. But otherwise, and, like, that's very reflective of Cancerian energy. My mom's a Cancer. I cannot tell you how many people I've dated with Cancer placements. I actually had to make a rule. I said, no more Cancer placements. I'm not doing it anymore, because an evolved Cancer is like the mother of the moon. But an unevolved Cancer is the most terrifying thing. I would take a Scorpio on a bad day any day before a Cancer who is pissed off. 100%. 100%. But it's the same thing about, like, Pisces, right? Like, Pisces energy, everyone's like, oh, Pisces, they're so wishy-washy, they're easily led, right? They're delusional, they're escapist, they live in another, like, planet. It's like, yeah, because Pisces, they don't like living here with you. So they're going to go hang out with the spirits instead, because at least these dead people make more sense than this guy over here, you know what I mean? But a pissed off Pisces is also quite terrifying. It's always, it's the signs that you don't think can be angry, right? Or strategic. Like, those are the ones you got to watch. It's the quiet ones you got to watch out for. Oh, I agree. I'm a Cancer, son. I know it's true. Listen, I know it. You gotta tell me. I'm on your side. You're a Cancer. I'm on your side. Don't worry about it. I got you. Be nice to me. I said the same, but I keep meeting Cancer Mars like you, and I love him so much. I get that. A Cancer Mars, they'll go to bat for you easy. My Gemini is in Mars, so I will, like, verbally, like, rip someone apart. And, like, for me, just like we were talking about before about, like, picking and choosing your battles, my battles, they're intellectual. They're philosophical. The kids keep saying, I walk through the walls. Yeah, I'm sure. Charlize, you're probably just gliding like a ghost in the night, right? It's like how mamas have, like, those eyes, in the back of their head. You have an extra set. You got an extra set, Charlize. Nobody's getting away with nothing in your house. Hey, David, how are you? Lauren, I need to learn more protection methods so that I'm not vulnerable. Any suggestions and with quantum support would help me. So when it comes to protection, I find that it's better if you work with tools and modalities that are based in earth elements as opposed to just energetics. Energetics are easier to be interfered with. Energetic protections, just with the energy and not with physical tools, are highly dependent on your emotional energy. The first thing that I'll say about protection magic is you have to resolve yourself to the fact that no one can fuck with you. No one can fuck with you. And if they do, if they try it, they will be dealt with. That's the first thing. That sense of confidence and security in self is probably one of the most impactful and important things that you can do. Like, you have to believe in your heart that, like, no weapon formed against you will prosper. right? That's the first thing. And then secondly, I prefer like physical protection. So like physical wards, I think are really helpful. And I find them to be much more powerful if you have the assistance of your spirits and your ancestors. So if I have like let's say this coffee cup is like a physical ward and I keep it in my room or I keep it on my desk in order to protect the energy of this room, I would first put it on my altar and I would have my Nona bless it, right? I would have my Nana, I'd have my ancestors come in and bless it and imbue their energy in it. And then I'd use it. I think that sometimes we get really caught up, and this is a lesson I had to learn, that in so much of like the quantum and the energetic, like the mental magic for the protections, which do work and are good, right? But they're entirely dependent on your energy and your emotional body being able to uphold it, to maintain it. And your mental health, your emotional, posture, it's gonna change from day to day because you're a human being. So if you have the ability to put physical protections, physical wards, just like you'd lock your front door, you have a plant as a protection ward, or you take coins and you put them in your room after they've been blessed by your ancestors, right? Whatever it may be, those are going to help you so much more because they're more long-term. Quantum, mental magic protections, they have to be checked on, reset, like on a daily or bi-daily basis, where if you have physical wards, they'll last you months. And you won't have to check it. And you'll actually feel a bigger difference in the energy. And it conserves you a shit ton of energy. And it also brings like your ancestors and your spirits into the mix as well. Does that make sense? I give them a scenario. They better tell me. Because I already know. If Charlize is asking you a question, she already knows the answer to it. That's such like a psychic thing too. I'm asking you a question. I already know the answer to it. Hi, Shane. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. Ave Aphrodite. You're talking directly. You're talking directly to me, Spirit. Always has me on blast. Oh, of course. Oh my God, of course. Just as much as like I am a conduit for like divine wisdom to come through, I am also a recipient of consistent divine ass whoopings like all the time. You don't think my ancestors sit me down like, listen. I'm like, yeah, just as much as they're like, we love you, we support you, we will swallow whole anyone who tries to fuck with you. Also, you need to sit down because we got to talk about this right now. I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, we get it too. And something I've realized as well, and this is something that I had a long talk with Archangel Michael about, is that the work that I do now is so different than the work that I've done before, and what is required of me is different. Like when I was a bartender for 10 years, maybe I had to learn like a new recipe. Like there was stuff like in the middle of the job, like, figuring out who's too drunk to drive. Let me get your keys. Who I gotta cut off? Like the bus boy's not here today. I gotta go change a keg. Like it's different. Whereas like this job, so much of, like we were saying before, so much of the work, at least 80 to 90% of it has to do with what goes on behind the scenes and like my own personal development, my own spiritual development, making sure my energy's grounded, my energy is clear, I'm in the right space, mentally and emotionally to give these readings. I'm receptive to the guidance. Sometimes I just want to get in bed and I just want to go to sleep, and there's a big nudge. It's like, no, for the next hour you're going to put on your headphones, or we're going to meditate, and we're going to shift your energy, or we're going to show you something, or we need to have a conversation about this. I'm like, but I'm so tired. It's like, this is your job. Like, you need to make sure you're good. Sometimes I want to sleep in a little bit, and they're like, hey, it's 4:30 in the morning. Did you remember that dream we just gave you? Wake up. We're going to analyze it right now. I'm like, okay. Like there are days when like sometimes I don't want to do readings on certain days. Like, and that's something I had to learn too. Like you could be super passionate about what you're doing, and there's still going to be some days when you just don't feel like working. And there are days like that where I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. And they're like, well, that's tough titties, because actually we have this and that and the other thing, and then we have these readings over here, and today's the perfect day for you to do. Okay, fine. And there are days when I'm like, all right, I have this is my to-do list. We're going to get all this stuff done. And they're like, the fuck you think you are? No, you're not. What you're going to sit here to do today is you're going to do your shadow work. I'm like, all right. Like, so, and I'm grateful for the guidance, and I'm grateful for the instruction, because I need it, because I'm not omnipotent. I'm not omnipresent. I don't always know every single thing that needs to be done in a moment or in the course of a day. So it's helpful for me, but it's a lot. Good for you, Charlize. Unfuckwittable. I'm always in the midst of it. It happens in all the ways it happen. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Okay, good. Confidence. Confidence. This Mercury post shadow is kicking my ass. It really is. Pretty soon. Soon it will be over. Confidence and knowing it's what we learn differently. Yes. Confidence and knowing. Spirit guides who understand the assignment. Yeah. Like, listen, we know what you want. We know where you want to go. So this is what you got to do. You know? Sometimes it is a little bit like, there's no crying in baseball, you know? And then sometimes it's like, you really deserve a good cry. Like, so you just never know. You just never know. It also depends on, like, what spirits you're working with at the time. I think I might have done a live stream, I don't know, in the last few months where I talked about this. And this is definitely something that I've talked to my students about in my Zoom classes and on Patreon, that, like, different spirits require different things from you. And they have different ways of guiding you. You may have some spirits that are really, like, nurturing and, like, lovey-dovey, right? Maybe, like your grandma, like your Nona, right? And then you may work with certain gods or goddesses, or you might work with demons, right? And they, like, don't, like, care about your feelings. Like, they just want you to learn the lesson. They want you to do the work. They just want you to, like, get there, you know? And so we have a lot of, like, preconceived notions, like, about, like, spirit guides or deities, or, like, answers to, like, what roles they're supposed to play or how they're supposed to go about it. I've worked with plenty of spirits that are, like, real hard asses, like, truly. Like, there's not a lot of sympathy for you. And then I've worked with different entities that are incredibly sweet and incredibly nurturing. And honestly, it's usually, like, the opposite of what you think it's gonna be. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the experiences that I've had with beings from the infernal realm are shockingly, and you would think the infernal realm, demons, booga booga, like, scary, you know what I mean? They're actually some of the most compassionate, kind, fucking enlightened beings you will ever meet. It's insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. Really will blow away any preconceived notions you have about demons or darkness, right? And I've worked with angels who are so goddamn scary, who are borderline, like, a little bit mean and aggressive. Honestly, who have no problem just, like, burning up your whole life just to get you to where you need to be. So when you start leaning into the nuances of different spirits, your different ancestors. Bye, Garrett. I love you. Different spirits, different ancestors. You will, you'll notice that different energies require different things. They have different guidance styles. And it can be surprising for you. One of, I think, the most important pieces of advice that I picked up along my way, especially when you are curating or kind of compiling a working spirit team for yourself, is how other spirits, their energies work together. Because there have been times when my team's been really good, solid, everything feels cohesive, and I've, like, introduced a new deity into the mix who is lovely and wonderful and, like, so helpful to me, but just their energy is like oil and water in comparison to the rest of my team, and it was creating like a dissension, right? It was creating like a bit of chaos in my environment, and so having to say, you know, I love you, but it's not working. So I gotta push you out, right? So it's worth considering, like, if your spiritual life feels a little scattered, or like if you feel like one guide's saying one thing and one guide is saying another, consider the compatibility of what deities, demons, ancestors, like, you have on your team, and really assert the need to have, like, a cohesive group. It will help you a lot. It will calm the energy around you a lot. A lot of what some of you may think is, like, spiritual warfare or spiritual interference, you may just have energies on your team that are so different that they just are not complementary to one another, and you're kind of stuck there like the monkey in the middle, you know? So think about that. Hi, Kirsty. Hi. Learning time is ready. When it's ready, be ready. You stay ready, you don't have to get ready. To a meeting. Hi, Garrett. Doing shit because we can. That is when we get the personal shit done. That energy that is waiting for peace, as in when we are ready, it works somewhere, we make something better. Yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for all things. You know, there's a lid for every pot. You know what I mean? So I always just like to say, like, you as a spiritualist, you as a human being, you with your own spirit team, like, it's all very unique, right? And so it takes time, you know, and that's something none of us are good at, but it all just takes time to figure out what works for you, what system of working, what type of, you know, spiritual experiences are helpful for you and not hurtful for you, which spiritual energies, deities, demons, gods, you know, ancestors, which ones are on the same page as you, which, you know, it's like personalities you get with better. Like, this is all, it takes time. I've worked with plenty of spirits that, like, didn't really work for me. I've done spiritual work that, or focused my spiritual energy in certain areas that didn't serve me, right? There's a lot of trial and error, and you have to allow yourself to eat some shit, and you have to allow yourself to, like, get it wrong, or to have, you know, an unhelpful combination of things. You know, you have to let yourself, you know, take baby steps and figure it out as you go, because if someone just tells you what you're supposed to do or tells you what it's supposed to be, it won't sink in, it won't feel right. You have to decide for yourself. It's also helpful to recognize the visiting professor energies and getting as much out of their stay as possible. That's absolutely right, Holly, because some energies are just transient, right? And I've had times where, like, I've been working with certain energies that I thought were going to be with me forever, and they didn't, and I was, like, really upset by that. Like, really, like, it touched on my abandonment issue, right? But I understood it, and I moved through it, and now, you know, it doesn't bother me so much. So when I have certain energies that will come in for, you know, a good time, not a long time, I'm able to appreciate them more, and, like Holly said, really get as much out of it as I possibly can, right? Because I am a lover of learning. Like, I want to learn, you know. But now I do ask spirits, I'm like, are you here? Like, are you here for, like, you know, the full ride, or are you just stopping by? I like to ask now because it just helps me mitigate my own expectations. But I'm really happy with my team overall. I mean, sometimes I yell at them. I get pissed off. But I have a central nervous system, you know? Something that, to this day, I still say, I'm like, well, if you want to come down here in a physical body and navigate this world with a central nervous system, come hang out. Come hang out, you know? Hey, D-Roy, how you doing? Good stuff. Good stuff. Been on here for a while. Do my guides prefer to communicate directly? I feel like they communicate with you indirectly. I feel like you don't respond to direct communication. So it feels like they have to do the runaround. Like repetitive signs, angel number, like stuff like that. You just feel very busy to me. You know what I mean? Love that. I have a central nervous system. Right? I'm a human being. I have a central nervous system. My adrenaline is high. It's like, I think I have autism. I'm not sure. I'm just doing the best I can down here. You know what I mean? I'm very lucky, though. My gods, my deities, my ancestors, they, you know. But that's the thing. Like, they know you. Like, they know me. They know me. And that's okay. Because it also gives you the ability to work on yourself, right? To, like, become a better person, a stronger spiritualist, while also being surrounded by energies that just, like, accept you for who you are. The hot mess express. And that's okay. That's a good thing. I feel like I'm always having a little whinge to them. I know. Me too. Me too. I had to learn a lot of lessons about that, though. It's like, stop complaining, Lauren, and start praying. I'm like, all right. Like, you know what I mean? I get it. I get it. Want to pull me a card, my dear? Of course. So the angel numbers are not the message. The angel numbers are just the ringing of the phone. Does that make sense? So when you're seeing a bunch of those numbers, one, it could just be a sign that you're, like, in alignment, which is nice. But if you're seeing those numbers, the message isn't in the numbers. The message is supposed to just alert you that they want to communicate. So you can just go, okay, I see you. I have, you know, some time tonight. I'll sit down with you for a half hour and I'll meditate and you can channel me what you want to say to me. Look at that, 11-11. 12-12 here. Oh. Ooh. You're wrapping it up soon. My phone's dying. Sheila, the Hangman. Page of Cups. Feels like you need 6 of Coins. It feels like you need playtime. The Wheel of Fortune at the bottom. And the Moon at the top. It feels as though if you don't give yourself some playtime, no one else is going to give it to you. And then when they don't give it to you, like, you could get, like, a little frustrated about that. Also, with the Hangman and the Page of Cups here, these are both Piscean energies. It feels like spiritually something is shifting for you. And with the 6 of Coins, the way you thought you were going to give back might actually be shifting or changing from what you originally thought it was. There is something about you do have the ability to use your spiritual gifts. You do have the ability to, like, give back, but in a way that does not consistently take more from you, because you're already an overgiver and people maybe already take a little bit of advantage of you. But it feels like there's sort of a new spiritual gnosis that is going to be unlocked. That's going to be really beneficial for you. But it feels like first and foremost, it's supposed to be beneficial in your physical life. Like, making sure that, like, you make more money, or, like, you get the proper hours that you need. Or does that make sense? That's what this feels like to me. You're also in a big observer time right now. It's better for you to observe them than try to guide them. But I also think you're getting better at letting people learn their own lessons, which I think is good. Now is also a good time for you to lean into your creativity just for the sake of it. With the 6 of Coins, they may be asking you to spend more time in your garden or to plant something new. Oh, that's interesting. Sheila, plant something new in your garden that you haven't grown before. Give you a different experience. Maybe that's what they're saying, observing too. It'll give you a different experience with the growth process. Plant something you haven't grown before. And then learn from that plant. They're also saying if you have been making something like tinctures or tonics or, you know, oil, stuff like that, it almost feels like you you started it and you didn't finish it. Now's a good time to go back and finish it. Now's a good time to go back and finish it. Oh god, I need some playtime so bad. Yeah, you know me, so looking forward to this change. Yeah, you'll really like the Virgo reading for February. It's, in a very similar fashion as that. I have her too. Someone came back to my life. Why did they bring her back? Yes, I will pull a card. First question is, how do you know she didn't bring herself back? Don't forget, people have free will and autonomy. So how many times has Spirit, like, wanted you to do something and, like, you just didn't do it? You know what I mean? Or, like, they didn't want you to do something and, like, you just did it anyway. So Spirit contributes, right? But, like, we have free will. Just as, like, a thought experiment. I will pull a card for you, though. But just as a thought experience. You know, they have finished tincture. It's like, they're showing me, like, bottles, like, these bottles with, like, the little droppers, and the dropper just, like, stops dropping, and they're like, and the bottle's only, like, halfway full. Like, what are you doing? I think that's also, like, Sheila, that's part of your play, and that's part of your alchemy as well. You know? You have so much experience, too. They're also saying something about, Sheila, I'm going to get to you in 1 second, D-Ray. About, like, a metaphysical shop. Do you live near a metaphysical shop? Or there's, like, a metaphysical shop, like, around you? Because there's something about that. Like, maybe finishing up, like, your oils and your tinctures and being able to, like, sell them there. Or, like, connecting people at that metaphysical shop. Or teaching a class. Like, there's something about that. It doesn't feel like something. It feels like something you can get involved in, but not necessarily have to build from the ground up yourself. So just put it on a post-it. Put it on a mental post-it. Alright, D-Roy. Let's see. Somebody new. Back in the New York groove. It feels like you kind of like the fact that they came back around. And I'm also hearing stuff like, I knew it. Like, I knew it. Like, 6 of Wands. Knight of Wands, High Priestess, King of Swords, Four of Wands. So, alright, D-Roy. D-Roy. So one, with the Three of Cups at the top of the deck, there is a little bit of like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time type of energy. With the Six of Wands and the Knight of Wands, there is a little bit of this, I knew they'd be back, like, because I got it like that. You know, almost like this feeling of like, you know you're irresistible, and you know you're irresistible to other people too. Do you know what I mean? You're like, I expected this. Frankly, I thought you'd be here sooner. Like, it's a little bit of that energy, which I love. I love the confidence. I love the audacity. Like, I like it, right? I like it. With the High Priestess, though, there is a sense of secrecy here. So, one, the High Priestess saying, you already knew this was coming. As a matter of fact, like, you might have manifested them back. More so than, like, spirit sending them along. Maybe there's something, it feels like more than spirit sending them back in, you might have, like, called them back in because it felt like you wanted to prove something to them. That the fact that, like, sooner or later, like, they were still gonna want what you had. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that type of energy. But with the High Priestess, there is an energy of secrecy here. It also kind of feels like they're not that serious about you. And, like, honestly, it feels like you're not even that serious about them. It's almost like you want them back to prove, like, you're happy they're back to prove a point. And then you're kind of, once you've proved your point, you're like, okay, you can go. That's what it feels like to me, honestly. The King of Swords and the Four of Wands is here. The King of Swords is, like, very clear, very direct, very assertive about, like, what they want. They know. This is so weird. Sorry, first, hold on. Just for, this is a side note, I'm having, like, rockin' deja vu right now. Like, I feel like I've already given this message, like, in a dream. So I'm having a really weird deja vu moment just for me. But, like I said, with this King of Swords, it feels like, and the Four of Wands, which can often talk about, like, it can talk about family, it talks about celebration, it can talk about marriage, like, commitment, like, all of these, like, really stabilizing things in our life. It feels like you already got things, like, just the way you want them. Anything that you do want to add in, like, you already know what that is. You already know what you want it to look like. With the King of Wands at the bottom, you are, like, very ambitious, right? But then with the Five of Coins underneath that, there's sort of just this feeling of, like, you're not that serious about it. They'll come back. I don't think it's going to stick. I don't even think you want it to stick. I think you just want to prove the point, and then they can go. That's honestly what I think. So it seems. I don't even think about them now. Yeah, but you're subconscious. But your subconscious, you know, maybe. It's just like, I don't consciously want to repeat old cycles and lessons, but there's something about my subconscious that keeps pulling it in. You know what I mean? Hi, Ario. L. No, poke around. Yeah. Look around. Man. Your puddle ducks. Oh, that's so cute. Ariel's puddle ducks. Aw. You're welcome, D-Roy. No, you rock. Keep that confidence up. So, May, I have some big things happening around me. Do you have time to pull a card? For you, May, the world. You were also very much at the forefront of my mind for the Capricorn monthly. I'm going to do May, and then I'm going to do Gertrude. No, it's a lollipop. It's a candy cane. I'm going to do May, and then I'm going to do Gertrude, and then we're going to be in the process of wrapping things up, because we've been on, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, for like an hour and a half. I don't know, when I was like 18, D-Roy? I think I was like 18. So, like, a very long time. Like, a very long time. The world has been all over my personal readings. I must be a psychic. She blinded me with science. 3 of coins. Are you moving? Three of Coins. It just feels like people like moving in furniture and like a painting and a mirror. Queen of Wands. The Eight of Swords in reverse. So, one, it looks like you're leaning more into confidence. You know, threes in the tarot, they're very expansive, but threes are parts of a whole. So it feels like there's a lot of moving parts, which can make you feel like a little bit unstable or a little bit insecure. But with the Queen of Wands, it feels like you're really trying to lean into positivity, which is maybe not like your normal or natural reaction. Your natural reaction is maybe to lean into more realism or like pessimism or like what could go wrong, right? Try and insulate yourself. So one, just from a personal development standpoint, it looks like you're handling it really well and you're being bigger than your fears and you're trying to lead more into optimism, which feels like it's creating like an easier process of, especially like working together, especially if there's like other people at play here. The King of Cups doesn't feel like your energy. There's also something here with this King of Cups. It feels very ancestral to me. It feels like you're breaking out of like a lot of bad habits that like run in your family, especially in regards to like over emotionality or again like expecting the worst thing, that type of thing. Even like escapism, like a fear of abandonment or like being avoidant, that type of thing. Feels like that's a family thing. It feels like you're working through it. So that's really nice. So it feels like there's some kind of a ancestral acknowledgement here that like you're doing a really good job breaking old patterns and they're very proud of you for that. And the Ace of Cups. So this is really good. So Ace of Cups is healing. You're being invited to continue to lean into this energy of confidence, to if there's any like soft spots that are coming up that make you feel sort of insecure, a little bit unsafe or nervous, it's okay. Allow those to be healed, and also feel free to ask for more healing. You can get more by asking for more. So feel free to do that as well. There's also these doves on this card as well. So I think that as you're continuing to move forward, you're having to make peace with a lot of people, places, and things that have maybe like, how do I want to phrase this? You're deciding to let things go so that way you can have a better relationship with other people. Three of Cups, yeah, which I think is nice. It's not necessarily your responsibility, but it feels cost effective in terms of your energy, if that makes sense. Quality over quantity. I'm in the best need rest. So great hanging out with you. Of course. Thanks for hanging out with us. And then Gertrude. Gertrude. Any insider messages? I'd love for you to type in. Sure, let's say. 10 out of 10. You'll like the Capricorn reading for February a lot. Gertrude, 8 of Cups. Death. Okay, so you're moving away from some stuff, Gertrude. That's first and foremost. Walking away from the inevitable. There's something here about the fact that there are some things that maybe are ending or they're wrapping up, and if you sort of take that into your own hands, and when you kind of get the intuitive ping about that, you just allow yourself to start making moves into the new direction. It's like things are going to end one way or another, but if you just allow them to happen to you, it makes you feel like things are just happening to you. You feel more out of control, versus if you like sort of take the hint and you start making steps of your own, it makes you feel much more empowered because it's like your decision. Does that make sense? It's sort of like a little bit of like a trick that you can play on your mind. It's going to happen anyway, but if it's your decision, right? It's like, you can't fire me, I quit. It's a little bit of that energy. With the 9 of Coins though, feels like it's in your best interest. It's going to allow you to take care of yourself. They're also saying offloading. There's also something here with these empty cups. They're giving me the impression of almost someone who like puts out like bowls of food for like the neighborhood cats, but like the cats don't show up. And like, does that make sense? There's something here of like, you can't give people more of what they already don't appreciate. And so by like respecting yourself more, by prioritizing like your physical, your mental health, by focusing on your stability, on your money, your relationship with spirit, right? Listening to your intuition. It's always going to keep you like one step ahead of the game, right? So it's like, you don't want to be the last person at the party walking around with chips and dip. Like, get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? The World card. As I said, pack up the chips and dip, move on to the next party. And trust your instinct the first time, Gertrude. You're smart. You know what time it is. Trust your instincts the first time, because that will mean that you will just have more time in order to prepare for, like, the new things. Do you know what I mean? You go, Gertrude! I love the message if you have time. If not, no worries. Of course. For you, the world. The world, my noodle. And then Aria will be my last one. We've had quite a little chat today. I was spilling industry tea. I was talking about the new schedule. We've done some readings. It's been a very successful hangout session. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I've been up for a while, too. Ooh. The High Priestess. Janet just heard. Oh my god. I know something you don't know. That's what I just heard. Which is hysterical, and I enjoy it. It almost, first, immediately it feels like you know someone's about to get in trouble. And you're just letting them walk right into it. Like, that's what that feels like. I know something you don't know. It's the feeling of the World card. Like, you thought you were going to get away with something. Turns out you're not. Good for you. Good for you. Let me say. There's sort of like a sick pleasure and a sick joy I feel out of this card too. Temperance. There's a balancing of the scales here as well. The Page of Swords in reverse. That's interesting. That's it. With the High Priestess here, it feels like you are learning how to reallocate not just your energy, but also like your psychic abilities as well. One, with this Page of Swords in reverse, there's this feeling of like not going down rabbit holes, not asking unnecessary questions. There's this feeling of, you know what? If it's not my business, I'm not reading into it. I'm not hanging out in the ethers trying to figure out. It's like you're really like much more self-possessed, and you are not allowing yourself to like take on energetic, spiritual work, labor, anything like that if it's got nothing to do with you, which I think is really nice. There is also, like I said before, a sense of comeuppance here. Someone may be getting their comeuppance and you sense it and you know it. You're not questioning it, and you're also not saying anything to them either. You're just allowing sort of those scales to balance. Temperance is not just about patience and moderation. It's about like the right amount, right? If you do feel a little gleeful about this, I also think temperance is you not allowing the ego to take it too far, right? Which I think is good. Not to relish in it too much, which I think is good. I think it's helpful. And then the Knight of Cups. That's interesting. With the Devil card, yeah. Now's a good time to just be extra mindful and discerning about like any offers that come, because you're with the World card, your energy is shifting, and your energy is definitely in like a level up right now, which means that it's much more magnetic and it's much more attractive. So there are people with this Devil and the Knight of Cups that are going to want to come in and sort of ride on your gravy train. And I think because I know you know, I think that you've allowed that to happen before, but I think that you are being much more particular about who you allow in your sort of inner circle. And I think that's the correct thing to do about it. 10 of Swords, yeah. You're done. It's hearing things like extending promises, like extending favors, extending this. You're such an extender, you know what I mean? It's like you always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I think you're just learning how to trust people when they show you who they are the first time, and you're just recognizing the red flags in ways that you didn't before. I think there is a sense of satisfaction from whatever this sort of karmic retribution or this comeuppance, whatever it is. There is a sense of satisfaction that like, hey, like sometimes God does move, like sometimes karma is real, and that's really nice. But I also think that you're taking it all in stride, and you're taking it all as learning lessons. King of Coins, there's a new responsibility that you have to yourself, that you have to your life, that you have to your family, and you're taking it much more seriously, which means you have to be much more particular about your boundaries with other people, but also your energetic boundaries, right? Especially when it comes to spirit work and all of that type of stuff. So all in all, it looks like you're really putting on like your fucking big girl panties, and I, for one, love to see it. I think this is really good. And again, I know you in, you know, real lives in the IRLs, and so this makes me happy to see too. You know what I mean? Like, justice for my girl. Like, you know? Yes, yes. Your laugh is girl so hot. Thanks. Thanks. When I was a bartender, one of my nicknames, people would come in, they'd call me like Smiley or like Sunshine or Giggles or, you know what I mean? That's your confirmation, yeah. Good. Good. The kids still got it. Ari was messaging me the other day about like one of the readings I put on a Patreon. She was like, it's exactly like what you said. I'm like, the kids still got the juice. You can knock me down, but you can't deny. By God, the child is a psychic. Yeah. From pregnancy pants to yoga pants. Keep stretching. Oh, I love you so much. I know. The dance. It's gotta end. It's precisely where I'm at. Of course! Of course. It's my absolute pleasure. That's why I came on today. Just hang out. Have a laugh. Spill some tea. Do a couple readings. I was like, what are we gonna do today on YouTube? And they were like, just hang out. I was like, alright. Had a good time. Had a really good time. 2 of coins. Look at that. They just gave me the 7 of wands and the 2 of coins. They're like, alright, Lauren, what do you want to do? You want to stay on? You want to get on? You got to make a decision. I'm like, I don't know. Ace of wands. Yeah, it's probably about that time. Glad I caught you. Thanks for that. Of course. Girl, you know me. You know me. Put these cards away so I stop. Shuffling. I'm kind of hungry. It's a little early, though, for lunch. I'm like this is unnecessary personal information that you don't need to know. But I'm like I'm like a supper person more than like a dinner person. I like to eat dinner at like 3:30, like 4 o'clock. Sometimes I'll eat supper at like 2:30, and I'm like, that's it. So I'm like, because I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat breakfast because I woke up in like a rage. Like I woke up in like a bad mood, and I was like, I don't need breakfast because I'm running on rage. And then I calmed down, and now I'm actually really hungry. But it's like, I don't really eat lunch, so it's like I have to wait now for dinner. Yeah. Them's the breaks. Yeah, because it's so early where you are. It got so dark here, too. Brunch. No, that'll throw off my whole dinner, supper thing. I have a weird food thing. Hugs to you all. Go get your geriatric breakdown, Holly. No, don't call me out like that. I go to bed early, though. Holly, I go to bed at like 9:30. Like, I go to bed really early. But I'm up really early. And so I eat an early dinner. I like a supper. I don't like to eat too late at night. When I was a bartender, I'd eat dinner at like 8 o'clock at night. But I was also up till like midnight every night. But I don't like to go to bed and feel like really full. It makes me uncomfortable. So I just like to eat dinner early. And then when I get in bed, I like to have myself like a little something sweet. So, and I eat like a big dinner. Like, I'm a big dinner kind of girl. So at like 3, for the early bird special, I'll really pack it in. And then I'll just hang out and I'll have some tea. And then at like 9 o'clock, like right before, because I watched this study too. I feel like I've justified myself. And I watched this study too that says like if you have a little something sweet, like a half hour before bed, you sleep better. So at about like 9 o'clock, I have myself like a little treat. A little bedtime treat, and I eat it in my bed like a gremlin, and no one can tell me not to do it. And then like a half hour to 45 minutes later, I go to sleep. Before 10 o'clock, I put on my mood music, my nature sounds, have my little snack, and I just drift away. I'm hanging out with all you guys too. I'd make you a snack plate if I was there. Ooh, a snack plate. Ooh, like some meats and cheeses. That's the kind of snack plate I like. Some cheeses, maybe some salami. Meats and cheeses. That's me. That's this girl. I've started feeding my kids super early, like 4 to 5 p.m. or else they'll lose it. Yeah. Listen, girls gotta eat. Girls gotta eat. Yeah, no good to eat after dinner. They recommend at least an hour and then sleep after. Listen, maybe I saw a study and it said a little something sweet a half hour before you go to sleep and you'll sleep better. And I took that and I ran with it. And even if it's not true, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know what, did I have a treat last night? What was my treat? Oh, yeah. I bought Reese's Pieces and I put them in the fridge. So I had a couple of those. I like a little chocolate. Specifically, I like a little chocolate before bed. It's just, that's my prerogative. As a woman, that's my prerogative. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's a great schedule. Grapes! Go hang out now. Bye, dear Roy! I don't like olives. Olives are good. Well, they look good. I don't like olives, though, to eat them. No. It's like a dirty martini. I've made so many of them working at the bar. But, like, if I was going to have that, I'd have, like, a pickle martini. Like, I would put pickle juice in place of olive brine. I love a pickle. I don't like an olive. It's just not my way. It's just not my way. Even, like, certain cheeses. Like, I don't like brie. Like, I'm not that much of a picky eater, but I have a few of my isms. My isms. It got really dark. Is it gonna rain? Maybe. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go now. Mostly because my phone is dying, and I am a little hungry now, which means I'm like 15 minutes away from getting cranky, that's a me thing. So we've been hanging out for a while, almost 2 hours. I had fun today. I hope you guys had fun today. I'm gonna leave this up for the replay later for anyone who didn't get to like hang out with us. But I love you very much, and thanks for hanging out with me. It was really fun getting a chat with you. We got some good belly laughs in, which is always nice. And I will see you on Monday. Yeah, I'll see you on Monday.